everyone, it's Sugarbread Cat. Today I will be redesigning Hagakure's hero suit. Now, Hagakure has recently become visible, and her suit was like a massive problem before, and it's an even bigger problem now. Her old suit, if I can even call it that, was just a pair of gloves and boots, and the thing is with Hagakure's power is that it makes her invisible, but not anything that's touching her. So the clothes she was wearing were visible. And while that is an issue with like stealth, she is a literal child and they did not give her clothing. She was just walking around naked. And it's like, one, how is that safe? And two, how is that practical? At all. She has no protection from the elements, no protection from stray hits, and she is literally running around naked. Again, how is that practical? And how is that safe? So I am redesigning her entire suit because, again, she has none. And I'm also designing this in mind where the fibers are made from her own cells. So like hair or dead skin or something like that is used in the making of the fabric, so that can also turn invisible with her. Sorry to interrupt the video, but I just wanted to introduce my Etsy shop. Purchasing something from here is a great way to support the channel. I recently added some bracelets based on the Demon Slayer Hashiras. I have one for Shinobu, one for Muichiro, then I also have stuff for Gyome Mitsuri. I also have some prints. This one is an OC and Gojo. Then I also have another print for Michael Myers and an OC. Then there's one for Satan from Obey and then I also have one for Eddie and an OC from Stranger Things based on the Metallica cover. And then I also have one from Lisa from Genshin Impact. There are a few more, but those are what I'm going to show you now. I restocked the boba tea earrings, and I also restocked the Pocky earrings. The boba tea earrings come in purple, pink, teal, and brown, and I also added these adorable little kitty earrings. And then along with that, there's also some monster can earrings on the site too. And recently, I started making little phone straps. I just made these two for now, but I will be making more. Let me know what you guys think. I really want to use this to help pay for my college, so any support is appreciated. You don't even have to buy something, just to share my shop on social media, and that would be great. You can find my shop on Etsy. The link is in the description down below. Now, I decided to make it more of a bodysuit because, again, her ability isn't really useful for attacks, it's mainly useful for stealth. So I added some knee pads here and there, and it's just more focused on keeping her safe, but not being too bulky because, again, she's supposed to be more of a stealth hero. She's supposed to be able to get around easier and hide easier because while she is invisible, you can still literally reach out and touch her. So if she's sneaking past you and like you do brush up against her, you're gonna feel it and you're gonna know she's there. So this was designed in mind for safety and stealth. I also wanted to keep elements of her old costume, I guess, in there. So I kept the design of her gloves because that was still like a bit of a staple of hers. And also she was doing training and a little bit of hero work before she turned visible, so if she's still able to keep her powers, then she's able to have that little thing tied into her costume so that like people who know of her are like, oh, that's the same exact person. The gloves. It's still the same person and still the same hero they know about. So it just makes it easier for people who have seen her before or know of her to recognize her. So there's that. With the boots, they are so plain and I hate them. So I made the folds over a little bit more dramatic, and when I get to the coloring stage, that is when everything becomes a little more apparent. But now to the pads. So I put some knee pads and elbow pads on her, along with some shoulder pads to add more protection at the joints because it's easier to injure those. So if she does fall over, then there's a little bit of added protection. I added a chest plate because, again, she's a stealth hero. She doesn't have an ability that can help her attack in any way, so she is even more vulnerable than the rest of her classmates. And yes, while she is invisible, everything around her is visible. So you can't really give her a knife and just like let her at it, because the knife would still be visible and people would be wondering why there's a knife just floating in the air. Now, color choices. I was immediately thinking mint green and purple because while that color combination did look nice, it just wasn't it, so I would end up changing it later. But I did add some colored bands here and there, just add a little bit of flair to the costume, and also to just tie in the glove design a little bit better. I also added little minus symbols around because the gloves, again, do have that, so it does help tie in the design more. Now for the bodysuit, I did choose a gray that had more purple undertones just so it would mesh well with the purple parts of the costume more and it wouldn't look too disjointed, because if I went for like a solid gray, it wouldn't be able to mesh well with the costume very much, and it would just, again, look very disjointed and out of place. I changed the color on the boots because originally they were a tan, and that didn't go well with the gloves. Horikoshi, I love you, but your coloring choices are just something. Anyway, I decided to change them to match the color of the gloves so that they would go better together, and I also decided later on that I would make the soles of the shoe the same color as the little squares on the gloves to, again, just tie it in better. Now, the armor piece. The chest plate, it looks like it's 100% attached to the shoulder pads, but actually it functions more as like an armor tunic. The shoulder pads aren't connected to that per se, it's more connected to the bodysuit itself. It just allows for more free range movement of the shoulders and just still the same amount of protection, really. I actually got more inspired not by Ida's armor because that is an issue in itself. It looks great, don't get me wrong, but I don't know how the hell the boy can move around in that because it looks so clunky and literally most of the joints are just completely covered. So I don't know how he moves around in that. But I made this design to both cover, protect, and so that she can move around easier because, again, stealth hero has to make sense because of what she's supposed to do. The colored bands are just more so to like signify just different pieces where the pads are like between. It's more of just like a little stylistic thing, like, oh, this would look neat here, just helps like make everything look a little cooler and all that jazz. And I imagine the bodysuit to be kind of more like a temperature controlled type thing, where it's not really insulated, but it's more, I wouldn't say spandex, but it has like moisture wicking fabric on it too. I don't know, it would be practical, but it would also look good. It's supposed to keep her safe from the elements as well as like enemies, so I would imagine it would be flame retardant to some degree, and also just like able to keep in warmth. I did end up changing the mint green to blue because I felt like that would work better, and it's also the same blue of her gloves from before, so it just helped everything look better. And while I did like the mint green, it just wasn't really what the costume needed. It didn't really work all that well with the gray because it was more of a warmer color than the blue was, and the purple that I chose tend to lean closer to a cooler color, so it just worked better with the blue. But yeah, this is the finished design. I hope you like it. Let me know what you think in the comments. If there's something you think I should have added, let me know. If there's any changes to the design that you might want to make, let me know. I would love to hear what you think about it. Here's an art piece that I made recently. It would really mean a lot if you went over to my Instagram to leave a like on it and just leave a comment. I work really hard on both my videos and my art, so it just really means a lot. And it also just helps me reach more people and get my art seen. So I would really appreciate if you did that.